Hello folks, this is Mike, PC31 The Vinyl Policeman, and this is my top 10 new records, new issues for 2023. No reissues, anything like that. These are all brand new albums from artists, and through the year I've picked up 35 new albums, which is an awful lot. I'm going to break this down into 4 sections. So the main bit of the video is my top 10. And what I'll do is, in case you don't want to go through all the drivel I'm going to go through first, I'll put a timeline on so you can actually jump to the top 10 if that's what you want. But I'm just going to go through quickly disappointments, and I'm just going to talk about one record actually. There's a few others, but I'm going to talk about one record. They nearly made it. So I'm going to talk about, very briefly, 8 records which would almost made the top 10. Good records, but didn't quite make it. And then I'm going to talk about one record which I put in the category of, it might make the top 10, but it's a Christmas present, so I haven't received it yet, so I haven't fully heard it. Snappy title. But I've heard some tracks from the album, and I think it's going to be a really, really good one. Plus, I haven't got my hands on it yet. So, okay, and then the top 10. So, right, without further ado, so a few albums kind of disappointed me, but perhaps some weren't a huge shock. But one particular album I was really waiting for the release of. So excited about it because I've got all the artist albums, I've got all the demo albums that they released, etc, etc. But so disappointing. Ironside, The Old Year Dying, Polly Harvey, PJ Harvey. So disappointing when I heard this, and I've given it a good chance now, and it just hasn't grown at all. I know that, Gary at Physical Format Rock and Roll is really disappointed with this one, and I know he's already moved his copy on. Brian at Embryonic Robot, disappointed with it. Several people are. And yeah, it's such a disappointment because huge anticipation for this one. Previous album, the Hope 6 Demolition Product, I absolutely love. Let England Shake before that, fantastic. So this, yeah, just didn't hit the mark at all, unfortunately. So that is, without question, the biggest disappointment of 2023. So I'm now briefly going to go through 8 records which were just outside. So the first one, which I think I saw Dale at Gatefold 33 show this one, and it's a good album. It's it's Boy Genius, and it's the 3 ladies, Julianne Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, and Lucy Dacus, and this is called The Record, and this is their first album they've released as a threesome. Each independent artist, and they knew each other, they've got together at many gigs, produced this one. I think there was an EP before this one, which I haven't got, but yeah, this is a good album. It's a strong album, indie folk, very, very pleasant, some strong material on it, and yeah, could have easily snuck in the top 10, but didn't quite. Second one, which was the first one after Andy Fletcher's passing, is Depeche Mode, which Martin and Dave, I don't think they were sure if they were going to carry on after Andy's passing, but they did, and they produced this, and it's a good album. There's some very strong tracks on it. There's some weaker ones as well, which is why this doesn't quite make the top 10 for me, but again, it's a very enjoyable album. Very well produced, got a lot of merit to it, but it's not made the top 10. Okay, so the next one is the eponymous debut album from Wave, which is Graham Coxon of Blur and Rose Eleanor Dougal duo, and it's kind of indie folk. There's a lot of different genres going on with it actually, but it's a really good album. There are some very, very strong songs in it. The highlights for me actually are when Graham Coxon sings. I think his voice on it is absolutely superb. But yeah, this is just outside again the top 10, but a good strong album which I've enjoyed throughout the year. I guess actually the ones which made it into the top 10 are the ones which forced themselves onto my turntable more than any others, and these ones just outside, as I say. So next one, Glenn Matlock, the ex-Pistol solo album, Consequences Coming. Glenn Matlock's made quite a few solo albums actually, but this one, I actually saw him and he signed it as well to Mike from Glenn Matlock. Good, strong rock and roll album. I mean, obviously Glenn Matlock was co-write with a lot of the Pistols songs, and so you can just tell with these songs there's some good strong material. For me, I think this is a really good car album, with playing the CD in the car, because really good strong songs with good choruses and great guitar, some really good guitar riffs. So I've enjoyed this throughout the year. Good solid album. Glenn Matlock. Didn't quite make it, unfortunately. Next one was a lovely piece of VCLT actually I got through the year, and this is from Mike Vinyl Spiral, Mike from Leeds in Yorkshire, and it's the Grian Chatten. Grian Chatten it was his debut album. Grian Chatten is the lead vocalist for Fontaines DC Dublin band, who I absolutely love, and Mike knew I love them a lot. Yeah, white vinyl, nice. But as I say, great bit of VCLT. Didn't quite make it for me. It's an album I enjoy. It's lighter than the 3 Fontaines DC album, but I really like Grian's voice. I think it's a good, strong voice. The material is good, a little bit more poppy, but yeah, still good. Just outside, enjoyable album. Got 2 Australian ones next, which didn't make the top 10. Sorry, Ben, Bishop of Melbourne. First one is the Go-Between, Robert Forster's album, Canned and the Flame. Again, very enjoyable album. Played it quite a lot during the year. Didn't quite make it. And the other one is one which Ben Rankins recommended, and quite a few people in the VC have picked it up actually. Taken by Force, my Civic. And it's just a really good punk album, very, very strong, red vinyl. And I've been playing that quite a lot recently. Probably haven't played it enough, so it's just outside the top 10, but it's just a no-nonsense, really strong punk album. So the only other one I'm going to mention, which is just outside the top 10, was earlier on in the year, was Kudashaker's new album, with the very long title of Kudashaker, First Congregational Church of Eternal Love and Free Hugs. And the artwork on this is spectacular. But this is, again, very, very strong album. There's really good material on it, very psych, some great guitar playing. Yeah, good. Didn't force its way on the turntable to make the top 10. So that's the nearly made it. And the one which I know I've got as a present from my wife, which has been wrapped up, and I've heard a few tracks and I've read quite a lot about it, and I'm quite excited to hear it because I think it's going to be really strong. And that's Blur's Ballad of Darren. What I've heard, it sounds really, really good. Can't wait to hear it. That may well have forced itself into the top 10, but as I say, pie in the sky because I haven't heard it yet. Okay, folks, so here we go with my top 10 records for 2023. And as I say, brand new records, no live records. There's been some good ones. I mean, Nick Cave, Warren Ellis produced one just a short while ago, which I think is really, really good. But this is just brand new studio albums. So, number 10, The Damned. And I saw them in April, and they were fantastic. Real goth rock, still a real punk edge to them. This is their 12th studio album, and it's their first in 5 years. And got it on clear vinyl. Some really good, strong material on it. Opens up with a track called The Invisible Man, which is superb. Great live track. Such strong riffs. There's a lot of great guitar riffs on this. Captain Sensible on guitar. Still a very, very strong lineup. But yeah, I've played this a lot through the year, and it's good, fun material. Still got that real nice punk edge to it. But a bit of goth rock. So Darkadelic, The Damned, number 10. So number 9 is the 12th studio album from The Pretenders, and that's Relentless. This is one I was looking forward to the whole year. And Chrissie Hynde wrote this one with James Warborn, who she also wrote Hate for Sale in 2020, the previous album to this. And I think they write from a distance, but it seems to work really well. Good strong material on this album. Again, Gary, Physical Format Rock and Roll, this was in his top 10. He made the comment that there's probably too many slow tracks. Yeah, I completely agree with Gary. There are too many slow tracks. I guess you need to balance that with the fact that Chrissie's now in her 70s, but her voice still sounds very, very strong. Interesting, the final track, I Think About You Daily, which I think was the second single of the album. Let the Sun Come In is the first single, which is really good. So 12th track on the album, I Think About You Daily, is featuring Jonny Greenwood of Radiohead. And that, probably my second favourite track on the album. A superb track. Jonny Greenwood's actually done the orchestration. There's a lot of strings on this one. And it's very similar to, if you know it, Nick Cave's Love Letter, the studio version, where you've got those falling strings coming all the way through. And you've got that in this track. And at first I thought, no, I'm not sure the track needs it. It's strong anyway. But I must admit, that's really grown on me. And I think it is a fantastic arrangement. My favourite track on the album, and there are a lot of strong tracks, but the 11th track, Vain and Glorious, that could have been on the Pretenders' first album. It is absolutely classic, wonderful Pretenders. It really is superb. Losing My Sense of Taste opening track, A Love, that was a single. There's a track listing at the back there. But yeah, number 9 for me. Yeah, Relentless by the Pretenders, and I picked it up on pink vinyl. So, number 8. Now this album, I've played it a lot. This is the number 1 album of a channel I really, really enjoy. Mike at Play Vinyl in the Milky Night, who's a big Stereolab man. That's his favourite band. But this is his album of the year, Slow Drive. And this comes in at number 8 for me. Could easily have been higher because it's a beautiful album. Prayer Remembered. Andalusia Plays. I love that one. Kisses. Really good, strong album. I think the reason why it's so low for me is I still prefer Slovaki and the 4th album, the eponymous 4th album. I think that's a very strong slow dive album. But this is really good. Number 8, great album, really enjoy it. And interestingly enough, also I've got the pink vinyl. So number 7. Yeah, number 7. Now, Mike's Vinyl Spiral during the year, as I say, sent me some fantastic VCLT, that Guillaume Grattan of the Fontaines DC, but he also sent me a 10-inch of a Modern Cosmology EP. This is from 2017. It took them a couple of weeks to make this. The reason why he sent me that thing is because I'd shown that I'd already got this one, and this is an album which has come out this year, Modern Cosmology. What Will You Grow Now? This is basically Letitia Sedlier of Stereolab, and where she's got together with a Brazilian indie group, 6-piece group called Mombojo. And as I say, they recorded this, which Mike sent me as VCLT back in 2017, and I think they recorded this in about 2 weeks, and it's fantastic. Played that lots and lots of times. But the album which has come out this year is this one, which she's recorded with them. So basically, so Modern Cosmology is Letitia Sedlier and Mombojo. And this is a lovely album. This is so easy to play. Beautiful music. Really, really good. It's got that kind of almost a cross between like a Brazilian and a Euro pop kind of feel to it, but lots of instruments. Really lovely feel to it. Fantastic. Took 7 years to make apparently, but that's my number 7. Great album. Really enjoy that. And my number 6, and I'm surprised that this one's so low down because I thought this was going to be a lot higher. I think the only reason why this is number 6 is quite simply because I haven't played it. It's not lived on the turntable. It's not spent enough time on the turntable, and it probably will grow and grow and grow. But it is Peter Gabriel's I&O, which came out only a few weeks ago. Wonderful production. A box set comes out next year, I think around about next March, April time, which I've already ordered. But this is the Dark Side mixes, and it's a fantastic album. Made a note, 27 years and 8 months to actually write, but it's his 10th studio album. There's some tracks on this which are just staggeringly beautiful. The music, the lyrics are fantastic, and still so much superb, absolutely superb track. But there are so many great tracks. Playing for Time, The Court, I&O, brilliant, some really good tracks. So there's some track, probably the reason why this is number 6 is because there's some tracks there which have not really got into me yet. Some tracks are all the way and they're fantastic, but there's probably about 3 or 4 tracks which I've still not kind of got yet, and they don't do enough for me, kind of thing, from an emotional point of view. But yeah, great album from Peter Gabriel. That's just going to get stronger and stronger. Superb, a real master. Okay, folks. So the big top 5, and number 5 is Pills, End of World, and I saw them tour this, and they were absolutely superb, I must say. Lou Edmonds on guitar, such an innovative guitarist. He was fantastic. Bruce Smith, drums, Scott Firth on the bass. As a rhythm unit, they're just so tight, really fantastic rhythm unit of bass and drums. And yeah, Johnny was fantastic. This album's very, very strong album. Opens up with Penge, which they actually opened the gig with as well, and it's a great opener. End of World, almost a metal track, especially the way it opens. Car Chase, fantastic. I think that was a single. Being Stupid Again, really funny. Great tracks. So many good tracks on this album. Few tracks that kind of shouldn't have made it. But the final track's Hawaii, which Johnny wrote about his wife Nora, who passed away early in the year, unfortunately. And that's a beautiful track. Only criticism of this one at the time and now is that it's a double album and it's 45 RPM, which is a bit irritating. So you've got two records, and it really could have been one record in my opinion. But yeah, 11th studio album from Peel, End of World. As I say, I got this signed copy when we went to the gig with a friend of mine, from Johnny. Great album. The vinyl, quite interesting as well. All Johnny's artwork. The artwork on it is fantastic, actually. It's all Johnny related. Peel. There we go. But yeah, End of World. So that's number 5 for me. Now, the next 2 kind of do swap around. And bear in mind, these top 5, these are the ones which have camped out on my turntable for most of the year, kind of the ones I've been playing over and over. But number 4 for me is the second album from Squid, Oh Monolith. And this is an absolutely superb album. Squid are a 5-piece originate from Brighton, but I think they now camp out in Bristol. But they're kind of, I saw on some chat thing somewhere where one of their fans described them as a post-punk prog band. And that is really what they are. I think it is such a good descriptor because they're definitely post-punk, but they've got a progginess to them. The music is really, really clever. It was recorded in Peter Gabriel's Real World studio in Wiltshire, and I think they really enjoyed being out in the countryside and concentrating on putting this thing together. But it was a great follow-up to Bright Green Field from 2021. But this is stronger. I think this is a much stronger album. Highlights for me are Siphon's Song. That's my favourite track on the album. The Blades, After the Flash, Undergrowth, really good. It's a very, 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 very strong album. And that is my number 4 for 2023. So my number 3, fantastic album from Dublin band, The Murder Capital, Gigi's Revenge. Such a great album. Another 5-piece, and as I say, these are very closely associated with Fontaine's DC, but they got their own style. It's very very dark, very intense, post-punk again, 5-piece, 2 guitars. Really like the lead vocalist. Actually, to check these out, if you look on YouTube at one of the KEXP sessions on YouTube, they do about a 20-minute session, I think it is, and they do tracks on this album. My favourite track is Ethel, which I think is just superb, so atmospheric, so dark, great guitar riff, fantastic. But Murder Capital, this is their second album, and a big step up from the first album, actually, featuring Only Good Things, A Thousand Nights, and Ethel. Yeah, all 3 of those tracks are really good, actually. Great album, and my number 3, Murder Capital. Superb, absolutely superb. Okay, so number 2, and this has been high on my list for all the year. I was worried when this came out because it was produced by Andrew Watt, who I wasn't keen on as a producer. Produced Miley Cyrus and The Bieber and various people. Very glossy producer. Tends to bring his friends in from the industry, and tends to take over an album for me. But he produced Iggy Pop's Every Loser, and it's fantastic. Really well produced, superb. The songs on this, Frenzy, I mean, single-wise, I mean, this is the 19th studio album from Iggy, and the singles, yeah, Frenzy, Strung Out Johnny, the first 2 albums. But Frenzy, fantastic guitar track. Strung Out Johnny, acoustic, brilliant song. New Atlantis, great. Modern Day Ripoff, Morning Show, great. So many strong tracks on this album. Taylor Hawkins actually appears on a couple of the tracks. I think it's Regency Comments from memory. But you've also got Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam's Stone Gossard. You've got several people on it. And I don't particularly like featured artists. I think it kind of just detracts from the main artist. But this is still an Iggy Pop album, and that's what kind of makes it so strong for me. But really well produced, in all fairness. But my second favourite album of the year, and it's been it was my number 1 for the first half of the year, and I think it came out in January, came out really early on, but brilliant album, superb, absolutely superb. So my number 1 album of 2023, and this record producer I was telling you about, Andrew Watt, who I didn't like entering the year. So not only has he produced the number 2 record in my top list, but he's also produced the number 1 record, and it's the number 1 record for me by a mile. This is such an easy one. It's Hackney Diamonds, the Rolling Stones. This is I've got a few versions actually, but this is a special edition. It's a Paul Smith version. So it's exactly the same record, but it's just that the sleeve is different, because I enjoy this album so much. I found myself actually buying some different versions of it. And as you can see, it's exactly the same track listing. But when you go to this track listing, I mean, Angry, the lead-off single, fantastic. Get Closer, even better. Depending on You, even better. Bite My Head Off with McCartney, fantastic punky track. Whole Wild World, fantastic track. Dreamy Skies with Ronnie on the Pedal Steel, country song, beautiful. Mess It Up, which was my weakest track when I first started hearing this, and this is the one with Charlie Watts on, one of the ones with Charlie Watts on, and I love it now. Mess It Up, it's a brilliant track. Quite disco. I don't think Keith was keen to put it on the record, but Ronnie Wood persuaded him that give Mick something he really wants there. Live by the Sword, that's one with Charlie and Bill Wyman, brilliant track. Driving Me Too Hard, fantastic track. Tell Me Straight, the Keith song, fantastic. Sweet Sounds of Heaven, see, with Stevie Wonder and Lady Gaga. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it'd be great seeing Lisa Fisher actually do the vocal, actually, that Lady Gaga does, because she'll do it fantastically. But Sweet Sounds of Heaven, superb. and Rolling Stones Blues, which they were named after the Muddy song. So limited edition by Paul Smith. And as I say, I've got a few copies of this. There's also picture discs I've got of Barcelona Football Club, which again it's the albums, all the normal tracks, but I've picked up a few different things because I love the album so much. But anyway, folks, so that's my top 10 for the year. Hope you enjoyed that. I know you won't agree with it all, and that's the way it goes. But yeah, I'll be eager to see other people's top 10s, and I've already started. And right, okay, so happy Christmas, folks. Speak again soon.